Hello, everyone. Today we're going to explore an interesting topic in psychology, authoritarianism. From its early research in the 1950s to more contemporary models, the study of authoritarianism has evolved significantly, offering deep insights into human nature and social dynamics. Society as a group has captured attention since the late 19th century, with authors like Sahele, 1890-2006, and Liban, 1895-2002, who conceptualized the mass as an entity where individuality is lost and judgment and critical thinking are affected. By the 20th century, Freud, 1921-1998, revisited these concepts under psychoanalysis, suggesting that mass behavior reflects childhood experiences and a possible regression to libidinal stages. Reich, 1933-1980, and Fromm, 1941-2008, applied psychoanalysis not just to understand group behavior itself, but to study authoritarianism, suggesting that social conformity and childhood repression can contribute to authoritarian behavior. Three important lines of psychological research emerged following the aforementioned authors, Altemeyer, 1996. The first by the Berkeley Group, Adorno et al., 1950, which conducted the first extensive empirical study on authoritarianism. The second by Rokic, 1960, who introduced dogmatism to evaluate authoritarianism independently of ideology. And the third by Altemeyer, 1981, who considers authoritarianism as a personality dimension, especially right-wing authoritarianism, RWA, a key tool in the psychometrics of studying authoritarianism. The F scale of the Berkeley Group, the first line of research, was initiated by the Berkeley Group, Adorno et al., 1950, who focused on studying authoritarian personality and conducted the first extensive empirical study on authoritarianism. Adorno, 1950, began his social research in 1932 when he joined the Frankfurt School, a group of researchers who adopted a critical approach to analyzing social phenomena based on the ideas of Hegel, Marx, Freud, and Weber, among others. The rise of Nazism in Germany led many members of the Frankfurt School into exile, significantly transforming their research. Adorno, 1950, one of the main exponents, emigrated to California in 1941 at the invitation of Horkheimer, 1936-1972. Thus, in 1950, the Berkeley Group was founded at the University of California by Adorno, Frankel-Brunswick, Levinson, and Sanford. This formation was influenced by the post-war climate, especially when observing fascist regimes like those of Mussolini and Hitler, and their ability to attract followers. Seeking to understand this phenomenon, the Berkeley Group adapted psychoanalytic concepts to develop the F scale, which allows evaluating various characteristics that define authoritarian personality. The F scale was designed to understand personality as a complex structure of superficial traits, attitudes, and unconscious patterns through two methodological strategies: surveys and clinical evaluations. The surveys collected demographic data, political and religious orientation, and assessed authoritarianism through scales of attitudes towards anti-Semitism, ethnocentrism, and conservatism. The clinical evaluations included interviews to facilitate the expression of opinions without ideological concerns, and gathered information about childhood, education, and family. The F scale consists of 30 items that evaluate authoritarianism as a global variable. Although its dimensionality was not tested through factor analysis, each item was assigned to one of the 9 characteristics of authoritarian personality proposed by Adorno et al., 1950. With this scale, they found that authoritarian individuals had dichotomous thinking, that is, black or white thinking. They became very rigid with those who thought differently, even resorting to violence. On the other hand, they also noted that contrary to popular belief, authoritarian individuals prefer following a leader or an established norm rather than imposing themselves. Despite inspiring numerous studies on personality, the F scale has been criticized, especially for its methodological limitations related to its focus on evaluating primarily right-wing authoritarianism. Authors like Schills, 1954, criticized that the scale did not delve into cases where authoritarian traits were found in left-wing parties, thus not detecting the phenomenon at the opposite end of the political ideological spectrum. An author who tried to address this shortcoming was Rokic, generating a second psychological theory on authoritarianism, a proposal that focuses more on the cognitive plane through the concept of dogmatism. Rokic, 1960, defines dogmatism as a closed and intolerant mode of thinking towards people with opposing beliefs, regardless of the specific ideological content. In contrast to previous studies like Adorno et al., 1950, Rokic, 1960, separates beliefs from personality, considering authoritarianism as a characteristic analyzable on a continuum of open and closed-mindedness. According to Rokic, 1960, the level of dogmatism affects beliefs about authority, increasing admiration for figures perceived positively and fear, hatred, and defamation towards those seen as negative. Feldman, 2003. Dogmatism also intensifies belief in a single just cause, generating intolerance towards difference and cognitive polarization. Rokic, 1948. Although Rokic, 1960, focused on dogmatism rather than authoritarianism, both terms began to be used interchangeably in the scientific community. Mellowin, 1993. However, Altemeyer, 1981, argues that while they overlap in some aspects, dogmatism as conceptualized by 1960 does not consider the context or group identity processes that justify authoritarian aggression, a critique addressed in subsequent research on dogmatism. Altemeyer, 1981. This led to the development of a third major theory on authoritarianism, right-wing authoritarianism, RWA, by Altemeyer in the early 1980s. This widely accepted theory on authoritarianism revisits previous studies such as those by Adorno et al., 1950, and Rokic, 1960. It defines right-wing authoritarianism, RWA, as a personality dimension composed of three attitudinal clusters. Authoritarian submission refers to the tendency to obey perceived legitimate authorities, while authoritarian aggression involves a predisposition to aggression towards groups or individuals seen as different and non-conforming to established authority. Conventionalism indicates a high adherence to social conventions endorsed by society and established authorities. Altemeyer, 1981-1988. Argues that authoritarian behavior results from the interaction between individual characteristics and situational pressures. Comparing with Milgram's 1974 experiment on obedience, Altemeyer, 1988, suggests that some people can be easily induced by authority to socially inappropriate behaviors, while others resist these pressures. Based on this theory, a scale called RWA was developed, initially composed of 24 items. Altemeyer's right-wing authoritarianism, 1981, has been a fundamental tool for studying authoritarianism, as it has been adapted and validated in various cultural contexts. In conclusion, the study of authoritarianism has evolved from an exploration of individual personality to a complex analysis of group and social attitudes. These models not only help us understand human behavior, but also offer tools to address social issues like prejudice and inequality. What do you think about these models of authoritarianism? Leave your comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos on psychology and social sciences. See you in the next video.